capitalism doesn't need you to be happy. It just needs you to be functional enough to participate in the system and to keep buying things. So then we are caught in this loop of feeling a certain way, feeling discontent, and then just buying things or traveling or eating loads of food, ordering takeaway, whatever, trapped in this like loop of trying to simplify a complicated problem and being like, if I buy this, it will temporarily make me feel better, when the problem is actually really complicated. The feeling that I had when I ordered all of this stuff, this fantasy of like, I will wear this will fit in my wardrobe here, or this shows I'm this kind of person. That feeling of like, oh my gosh, this is gonna change who I am. Like, you're trying to buy a new identity. And then that feeling versus how I feel now, where I tried on all the stuff, I'm quite disappointed. The hope, I guess, or the expectation, or like this fantasy version of myself is now not myself in the reality. But why do I keep getting caught in this loop of seeing something, buy it, and then feel disappointed, and then return it and be like, oh, I'm not doing that again. And then it's just going round and round. Why do we do that? I think definitely for me it is to do with escaping a feeling. I don't know if it's like a concerning behavior or if it's a normal response to like feeling out of control or feeling like I can't deal with the emotions I'm feeling or the world. Like, it's a very simple thing to like scroll for half an hour, pick out some things you like, click this button to buy it, and then it arrives. Like, that's a lot easier to deal with than to deal with whatever feeling was prompting you to go scrolling and go shopping in the first place. Living in uncertainty, feeling lonely, like those are really complicated feelings that don't have one solution in the same way as just like, I will scroll, I will find something I like, and I will buy it. I thought now was a good time to talk about overconsumption or just consumerism in general, because I have certainly found myself falling into some of these Black Friday / Cyber Monday deals. I've just been trying to be mindful of what I'm buying, especially if you've watched my Winter Arc Slowdown video. I mentioned a bit about consumerism there. And so that's kind of been in the back of my mind, and I've just been like observing my shopping habits. And even if I'm not buying anything, I'm just observing myself scrolling on ASOS or scrolling on Vinted or Depop and just having a look at things. And I'm like, why am I doing this? Like, why now am I choosing to scroll when I don't actually need anything? It's different if you're looking for something specific and you're like scrolling to find a good deal, or you're like looking on Vinted or Depop to see if you can find someone who's selling the thing that you want at a better price than if you were to buy it new. That's slightly different, but it's when I'm noticing myself with no need to buy anything. Like, there's nothing in the forefront of my mind of like, I'm looking for a Christmas present for this specific cousin, or I'm looking for a Christmas present for my uncle or my dad. And not for me either, thinking I need a specific jumper or, and again, need. When I'm just aimlessly scrolling, why am I doing that? And I had the thought earlier of like, maybe I should not get rid of my smartphone because I just bought it last year. But just as like a little thought experiment, I was like, what would I be doing if I wasn't like playing, sorry, my phone is here, playing music on my phone all the time or scrolling on my phone? You know, like, what would I be doing? Reading the news on my phone, podcasts on my phone? What would I fill my time with instead? Would it be more time with my family? Would it be more time reading, more time outside? Then it's like, well, I could delete those apps then. I could delete Vinted or Depop if I find myself scrolling. I could delete the Urban Outfitters app. And I had an experience recently where I saw an advert on Instagram, which is clearly a reason to delete Instagram. We'll get into the reasons why in a second. I saw this pullover on ASOS, an advert on Instagram, and I was like, that looks really cool, that looks nice, it looks fluffy, it looks cozy, I'm gonna buy that. And I bought it, and it turned up, and immediately, as soon as I got it out of the packaging, I was like, I know I'm not gonna like this, because the material, it looked really soft. It looked like it was gonna be really cozy, but actually the material was not soft at all. I was just like, no, like immediately no. I tried it on and it did fit, but I was like, I'm never gonna choose this. You know, I have quite a few jumpers. I'm never going to choose this one if I keep it because it's just not comfortable. But stuff like that where we're buying things online, you can even look at the material composition, which I did, but you still can't get an idea of what the fabric is going to be like until it shows up. Whereas if I'd seen that in a shop, immediately I would have been like, no, because I don't like the fabric of it. But all this stuff arrived, and in my head, when I'd ordered it, I was like, oh yeah, this is gonna be good. And in fairness, I did buy this dress and it is actually very nice. So I was like, oh cool, maybe I can wear this for Christmas. I'm glad I bought that one thing. But the rest of the things I bought, it was all that same thing of the material is not what I thought it was gonna be. The feeling that I had when I ordered all of this stuff, this like idea, like this fantasy of like, I will wear this will fit in my wardrobe here, or this shows I'm this kind of person. That feeling of like, it is like a fantasy, right? It is like, oh my gosh, this is gonna change who I am. Like, you're trying to buy a new identity. And then that feeling versus how I feel now, where I tried on all the stuff, I'm quite disappointed. Well, not disappointed, like I didn't have that much expectations. It would have been nice if they all like worked out, but I was like, okay, whatever, like I'll send them back, get the money back. But now it's like, oh, I have to package the stuff up and return it, obviously, which is a good thing and I'm gonna do it, but like the feeling that I had is completely not the same as the feeling that I have now. The hope, I guess, or the expectation, or like this fantasy version of myself is now not the myself in the reality. But why do I keep getting caught in this loop of seeing something, being like, oh cool, this will change something about me as a person or whatever, buy it and then feel disappointed and then return it and be like, oh, I'm not doing that again, and then it's just going round and round. Why do we do that? I think definitely for me it is to do with escaping a feeling. I've just been trying to observe, like, when do I tend to go online shopping? And it seems to be quite late in the evening, where really I should probably just be going to sleep. But it's like, well, I don't want to sleep. I honestly think since the US election, when I woke up really early by accident and checked the results, it was like 5 o'clock. And I was like, why did I just do that? Since then, my sleep schedule has been completely messed up. I used to be so good at like going to sleep at 11 or 11:30, and now it's just like whenever I feel tired, and that is not, you know, it's not good to be in that kind of routine. But with a lot of this stuff, I'm like, I'm just gonna allow myself to go through whatever phase. I do find that I eventually like self-regulate, I guess, and return to whatever my normal was. Example would be like, I used to eat a tub of ice cream every day when I was like 3 months sober. It's very normal for people in addiction recovery to gravitate towards another thing, and you don't want a cross addiction, but it's normal to be like, for example, having more sugar cravings or shopping. Mine is definitely not a shopping addiction, to be clear. I'm not spending ridiculous amounts. I am often sending back most of what I buy. But I was eating a thing of ice cream every day, which, as you can imagine, is not good for your health. It was clearly just like a coping mechanism, and I was like, how am I gonna get out of this? I keep doing this, I don't like this behavior, what is happening? But after about 3 weeks, I can't remember whether I just got fed up. See, the thing is, I don't think I was even aware of it. It was just one day I didn't do it, and then after a week I looked back and I was like, oh, I was having ice cream every day for 3 weeks, and now I've not even thought about it for a week. So I do think sometimes these things go, at least for me, I found they go in phases, and it's like, why did that happen? Or was that phase so bad that I need to do something about it, right? Like, is it so bad now that I'm buying things? It's not like I'm buying them and keeping them. Often I'm buying them, sending them back. I might keep like 1 or 2 things. But like last month, I hardly bought anything. I don't know if it's like a concerning behavior or if it's a normal response to like feeling out of control or feeling like I can't deal with the emotions I'm feeling or the world. Like, it's a very simple thing. So like, scroll for half an hour, pick out some things you like, have this idea of the kind of person who would wear this or the kind of person you're gonna be, click this button to buy it, and then it arrives. Like, that's a lot easier to deal with than to deal with whatever feeling was prompting you to go scrolling and go shopping in the first place. And it's also quite a linear process, like we just described. You look for something, or you're just browsing, you're like, I'm looking for a blue jumper, and so you filter by blue jumper, you filter by your size, you have a look, you find one you like, you add them to your basket, you pay, they arrive, you try them on, you keep them, you send it back. It's very like expected and structured. And yes, sometimes things can happen, like things get lost in the post or whatever, but generally that's the way it's expected to go. That, I guess, is linked to the idea of control, because it's like, I don't mean like controlling the future, but like there's a very clear expectation. If you buy something online and then it turns up, like, you know what's gonna happen. You don't necessarily know if you're gonna like it when it turns up, like we talked about, but I ordered this thing, it's arrived, it's here now, versus dealing with a bigger feeling, whether that's like confusion or boredom or disappointment or being annoyed about something happening in the world, or feeling like intimidated or scared, living in uncertainty, feeling lonely. Like, those are really complicated feelings that don't have one solution in the same way as just like, I will scroll, I will find something I like and I will buy it. It's really easy to think that we can find the answer and be like, oh, if I just solve whatever problem is causing me to do this behavior, to shop online or whatever, if I can just solve that or address that, then this behavior will go away. But those things are often very complicated and often rely on things outside of you as well. So it's not just like to do with sleep, for example. It's not like, oh, if I'm feeling really tired during the day, I just need to like work on my sleep schedule and then it'll feel better. If we're talking about like feeling lonely, that's relying on other people, right? You need to either meet new people, do something to strengthen your current connections, or share what you're going through so that you feel less alone going through it. But that's scary because it's relying on other people. It's not just like you can share, you can be really vulnerable and be like, I'm struggling with this, I can't do this, or you can go and meet new people. There's still other other people there and you don't know how they're going to react or what they're going to do. And if we're talking about like bigger problems, things that are impacting your life on a societal level, there is no answer to it. Like, I'm not going to solve it. And so then the easiest thing is to do some behavior, some coping mechanism that is trying to alleviate the discomfort of that feeling. And so that is, yeah, shopping or eating or watching 5 films back to back, you know, just spending a day watching TV. Like, those behaviors are trying to deal with the very complicated topic that there is no clear answer to. This kind of was talked about in the Ruthless Elimination of Hurry, where he talks about, oh no, in Sedated actually, which I'm going to do a whole separate video about. I'm still outlining it now because it looks like it might be quite a complicated topic. It talks about how capitalism doesn't need you to be happy. It just needs you to be functional enough to participate in the system and to keep buying things. So then we are caught in this loop of feeling a certain way, feeling discontent, and then just buying things or traveling or eating loads of food, ordering takeaway, whatever, trapped in this like loop of trying to simplify a complicated problem and being like, if I buy this, it will temporarily make me feel better, when the problem is actually really complicated and you can't do anything about it anyway, even if you were to address it. I don't know what the answer is. I think the first step is becoming aware of yourself engaging in these kind of behaviours, which is what I've been doing, where I'm like, I'm scrolling a lot on Vinted looking for things that I don't need. Because as well, then it's looking around and being like, I don't need any of this stuff. Like, some of it does make me really happy. Like, I love, you can't see. Oh yeah, you can see, I've got a record here. I love my records, so that does make me really happy. But there are some things where it's like, I bought this thinking that it would make me feel a certain way or make me become a certain person, and actually that's not me. And the thing then doesn't really fulfill its purpose because it's just sat on a shelf or sat in a drawer. This thing of buying an identity, it's like we need to become that thing first. So like, if you want to do running, you don't need to go buy a new like running kit and like a new sports bra and new leggings and new running jacket and new trainers and new like special moisture wicking socks or whatever. You don't need to buy all of that stuff. All you need is something that you feel comfortable enough to run in and some shoes that are supportive for your feet for running, you know? But it can be tempting to be like, oh yes, I want to be this thing, so I'm going to just buy the stuff that makes me that thing, instead of like working towards actually becoming that thing and that organically happening over time and being like gradually accumulating things. And I was thinking about this as well in terms of my YouTube channel, because I was ordering a new external hard drive, because that's how I edit all my videos, because video clips take up so much space. I thought the current external hard drive I had, I thought it was 1 terabyte. It's actually 2 terabytes. And I've filled that up in less than a year. So this is how much space these things take up. So I was ordering a new external hard drive and I was like, oh, when I start, it was making me think about this thing of identity and buying things to become an identity, as opposed to taking action to become that thing first and then like buying things along the way. I was like, looking back now, I've had my channel for 2 years and I've spent quite a lot of money now on equipment for this channel. But at the beginning, I was just using my phone. I mean, it wasn't this phone because it was my old phone, but I was literally just using my phone. And then I think the first thing I bought was a lav mic, which I still have. That cost me like £15 and that felt like a really big deal. And then I bought like some little 120 gigabyte USB sticks to edit, but then very quickly I was like, this isn't enough. So then I bought an external hard drive, and then I bought a microphone, and then I bought a camera and a tripod, which was like the biggest thing that I've bought. It was quite reassuring because where I can sometimes buy things to try and become the thing first, I was like, no, I've been posting YouTube videos quite consistently. Like, I have had a few weeks or a few months even off, but pretty consistently for 2 years I've been making videos. And I didn't at the start just be like, I must buy a camera now, I must have a microphone now. Sorry, my phone is going. I thought I'd put this on Do Not Disturb. I didn't buy those things at the beginning, and I'm quite not proud of myself for that. I've heard some people be like, I bought my camera and started my YouTube channel and then like I kept going with it and it was fine. But like, the problem is if you're doing this brand new, you've never done video editing or anything before, you can like want to buy all the equipment instead of just becoming the thing first, and then you might not even enjoy it, or it might not be for you, and then you've bought a camera and whatever, and like, it's not a big deal because then you can always sell it on, but like, it is expensive. But I was just like, yeah, I now have quite a lot of equipment to do with this channel, but it's all like accumulated over time as I've become, I guess, the person who makes YouTube videos. And so that, I guess, is quite reassuring. I seem to be like a mix of contradictions with stuff. There are some things where I seem quite sensible, and I think it is quite sensible to just let myself go through different phases, like the ice cream phase, like we talked about, or I'll have a phase of like eating loads of chocolate, And I just sort of let it run its course, because I'm like, I know I will get fed up of this eventually, whether it takes a week or a month. Like, there will be a point where I just am like, no, it doesn't appeal to me anymore. I think that is quite a good way to approach it for me. Depends on the thing, obviously, because if it was alcohol, that would be obviously a terrible way to approach it in terms of things that you have like a true addiction to. There seem to be other things, like just buying clothes and shoes that I don't need, where it's like, what are you doing here, and why do you keep doing this over and over again? Like, why have you not learned that this shirt will not change your life? This pair of shoes will not change your life, you know? But I still get caught up in that trap. I'm not sure. I guess maybe if our society is set up in the way it is, where capitalism and consumerism are quite happy to feed into each other, and discontent can lead into both of them, like, it's gonna be an ongoing thing. But then I don't want that to be a cop-out, right? I don't want that to be like a thing of like, oh well, this is just the system we live under, so I'm just gonna have to accept that I buy random things. It's like, no, you don't need to do that, actually. And then it's like making excuses to buy Christmas presents, and I'm like, okay, pause. Who is this for? Specifically, think of a person that this is for before you buy it, because otherwise it's just gonna end up being something that I keep for myself, which is fine. And like, we do sometimes deserve nice things. Like, if you want something, buy it, right? If you want to buy like a nice shower gel, or you want to buy yourself a really expensive box of chocolates or whatever, fine. But like, it's when I'm trying to trick myself into being like, oh yes, this is for a Christmas present, and then actually it arrives and I'm like, oh wait, who would actually, one, who would like this as much as me? Who would actually appreciate this? And also, who is someone who I'm close enough to that it makes sense to give them this gift if it costs a lot of money or is like sentimental or whatever? Like, who would I actually give this to? Why do we keep buying stuff? We've gone through some reasons. I mentioned my "You don't need a winter arc, you need to slow down" video, so I will link that if you would like to watch that, because that is a more structured video talking a little bit about capitalism and consumerism and how we can slow down. Hopefully that will continue to unpack some of the things that we have talked about in this video. God bless, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.